Welcome, friends, to the Someone Gets Me podcast. I am your host, Dianne A, and I am so delighted that you're here. This podcast was created because I believe there is a visionary leader inside each one of us who is waiting to be seen. In each episode of Someone Gets Me, you will hear useful tips from successful visionaries who will share their stories about how being seen has allowed them to take their vision out into the world with action. The success hangover when achievement isn't enough. Hi friends, it's Dianne here at Someone Gets Me, and today we're talking about a success hangover. Now, many of you who are successful in your own right in different ways have had this experience, I'm sure. When you wake up one day and you realize you've checked all the boxes, you've built that business, you've created that amazing family, you've made all the money to retire comfortably, and now what? You've hit all the milestones you set out to do, and yet something just feels off. Something's not quite right. There's kind of like an ache, like there's something more trying to emerge and come through you. Well, that's where I come in a lot of the times, because that is what I help people with most often, is understanding that a success hangover, as I call it, is something that is very common in people who are driven, who are manifesting generators, who like to create things. And all of a sudden we wake up one day and there's that moment. There's the moment that you realize that that achievement, those series of achievements are not the same as being fulfilled. And so there's still that sense of kind of ache or hole in your heart because you know there's more. And all along, you bought into the idea that if you just did these things, if you could check off all the boxes, if you could line everything up in the way we've been taught, that you would be happy and fulfilled. And then you wake up one day and realize that that isn't completely true, that our fulfillment comes from the inside out. Yes, we might check a lot of boxes off, and yes, we'll make a lot of achievements along the way, but those alone do not make the fulfillment happen. And so I want to talk about this today, the success hangover. Now, I remember when I got out of graduate school with my master's degree, and I was really excited and I couldn't wait to get it. It was a 3-year master's program that demanded a lot out of me while I was working full time. And I thought, wow, this will be great. I can't wait to get it. And I got it. And then there was this inner dead silence. I couldn't see the next step. I was working. I was gainfully employed. I had a happy life. I was racing sailboats. Everything looked wonderful on the outside, but yet there was this emptiness inside, this discontent, maybe even a little bit irritable sometimes. And I remember asking myself, is this it? Is this all there is? Okay, I got that degree. Now what do I do? And I had that searching, aching feeling. Sadly, it took a long time, I guess, or maybe it was the right time, I don't know, for me to start to sort it out and find some people in my world that could understand what I was going through. It wasn't talked about a lot in that time, and I think we talk about it more in today's world. And so it's so important for us to realize that. I've worked with people who have great success. I remember a gentleman I worked with who was just totally amazing, and he had just retired and he was really struggling with emotions and what to do, and his adult children and his wife of like 40 years was right by his side, but he just couldn't feel any fulfillment. He really struggled. And one of the things he said to me in one of our first sessions was, well, I got the career, I got the degrees to get the career, and it was a very successful one. And he made all the money to set up his family. He was taking care of his elderly mother. He was doing all the things. But yet when he settled into his own body at night, or when he was by himself, maybe driving, he would feel this existential sadness, this kind of longing that there's something else, there's something more, and that what he had been doing was good and it was noble and it was wonderful and he doesn't regret it. Yet there's something else. I hear it all the time. Almost every person I work with has a similar kind of conversation, that they know there's something trying to emerge and the success hangover has hit them hard. So one of the things I want to talk about that happens in our culture often is this illusion of arrival. I know sometimes I'll tell people there is no finish line. I remember Nike tried to do black and white commercials with people running in their running shorts or whatever would be neon. And then it would say, there is no finish line. And I laughed and I said, I've been saying that for 10 years, and there is no finish line. And our brains, our ego, especially as gifted people, we want to believe there is a finish line. We're going to arrive at the place. Yes, you can arrive at retirement. You can arrive at a certain income level or a certain degree or a certain level of notoriety. You can arrive in those spots. But I prefer to look at that more as milestones, more as mile markers on a road trip, because that external success does not take care of our internal hunger. The external perception of arrival somewhere is really a distraction from our internal desire and hunger and heart's desire to do something that's amazing or magical or bring something into the world that is inspiring, even if it's just for us. So get out of that illusion of arrival. There is no finish line. It's just not going to happen that way. There are mile markers along the way that are very important, but the illusion that you're going to get there and it'll all be handled, it's not true. It is an illusion. The second thing I want to talk about a little bit is that sometimes our wins when we're high performers, like I'm a high performer, many of my people are high performers, and sometimes we can do things that are amazing and really fun and great, but we don't really feel it that way. Our external wins sometimes feel empty. Sometimes we feel more empowered by solving a problem in our own secret, like the excitement that we got this issue solved or this thing solved. Because as gifted people, we crave novelty and we crave being able to have a sense of purpose. We crave depth. We want to know what's going on. We want a sense of justice. Those things help us feel connected and alive and fulfilled. It's not just the external wins. I mean, I've gotten many accolades in my professional career, and they were nice and it was good. But really what has meaning to me is seeing people I work with smile for the first time after they have been maybe depressed or anxious and didn't know how to smile for a while. Or maybe seeing somebody light up with their energy of fulfillment and being excited about their life instead of just checking off boxes. Or maybe that person that I'm working with that understands how to emotionally regulate themselves so they're not being tossed around by the waves of the world. That's what turns me on. That's where my fulfillment is. It's not just in checking off boxes. And I don't think I'm any different from all the other neurodivergent gifted people out there. I think that is really how we do it. We're not motivated in the same way as a neurotypical person or somebody who's simply checking off boxes in a situation. I just don't think that's how we do it. One of the other things, this is the third thing I want to talk about, and that is burnout. And I've had it many times because of being overcompetent or working harder than other people or having my brain always solving a problem or sorting things out. In my previous career of being clinical director of a fairly large and relatively well-known substance abuse treatment centers for gifted people and for professional people, my brain was always running. It was always running on ways to help the people, ways to make sure my programming was top-notch, was the best, that the staff was delivering the best that we could deliver for our people. Always solving, always working, always creating. And what most people don't realize is that burns us out pretty easily. Early in my career, I got burned out a few times. Then I got wiser over time. And now I kind of look back and go, whoa, baby, it's amazing that I even made it through all that. But the truth is that a lot of us get burned out or stressed out, or we have difficulty keeping the peace within us because we are going after achievement more than fulfillment. Like at the time, years ago, like we're talking 40 years ago, I didn't really have a differentiation either. I knew that if I completed all the things I needed to faster than most people and better than most people, that somehow I would magically be successful and fulfilled. The truth is I became very successful and I didn't feel very fulfilled. Now I'm equally successful and I'm very fulfilled because I shifted. I got out of that success hangover. I shifted my focus on my heart's desire and my craving of novelty and justice and having meaning and depth in my life. And so now burnout can try to sneak in a little bit, but then what really happens is my brain says, oh no, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. And our emotions of peace and safety and sanity take over. So a lot of people who are striving to get things done, who are living in the achievement part, they have an unspoken level of burnout. I've worked with some people of notoriety, and this is one of their problems that I've had with the people that I've worked with of notoriety that I'm thinking about, because they were going. They're in the public face all the time. They're household names, and they were tired. They were burned out because they were so good at their craft and so good at what they do. Everybody wanted a piece of them. Now, they weren't trying to get a piece of them in an extortion manner. The people were trying to get a piece of them because they admired them. They revered them. They wanted to be near them, not realizing the toll it took on the person. And then the person I'm working with is feeling burned out because they have to maintain that level of competence. So there's an interesting line that we walk in there of caring for ourselves so we don't get burned out, but also allowing ourselves to be competent and set healthy boundaries. And so we do a lot of work on those things so that we don't burn ourselves out. But there is a lot of burnout with neurodivergent and gifted people who are highly competent going after the achievement goals. And that's how come we get a success hangover. And that's how come we don't feel as fulfilled as we otherwise could. The other thing we want to do is realize that there are ways to take care of ourselves along the way, to kind of decompress, to feel better, to release all of the stuff of the world that doesn't necessarily create what I would call a hangover. Like I said in a previous show, and I still believe it, that self-care is not something we do when we're already burned out and stressed out to feel better. That's called recovery. Self-care is what we do on a daily, ongoing, rhythmic basis to keep our energy up, to keep our batteries charged, however you want to look at it. And so what happens is if we are just going for achievement and we crash, and then going for achievement and we crash, then the old us who's going for achievement, who is never going to get to fulfillment on that road, who's still going after it, has to come into contact with the part of you that's saying, hold on, there's something more. And it becomes this interesting little rub inside that we have to work through. We have to decide who's going to win the little rub, right? And so we don't really want to get these hangovers, do we? We don't want to get to a place where I've achieved something amazing and now I feel kind of flat or dead about it. And I see a lot of people who go through that because they're looking for achievement and they think it's the same as fulfillment, and it is not the same. And the last thing that I want to talk about today, the fifth thing, is that it's so important to integrate. It's so important to integrate what we're doing, what we're learning, how we're growing, how we're creating in the world into our daily practice. A lot of times people go so fast that they don't restore their own vitality by deep breaths or by yoga or by all kinds of things. Genuine connection with others is so important. Being able to be around like-minded people who we're connected with. Or maybe we can do some writing or journaling and reflect on our world. For me, connection is the correction. For me, I like to connect with people. That is why I have created the Different by Design retreat. So we can all come together in a very intimate group and connect in wonderful ways where we can grow and settle down and rebuild our own vitality and our energy by coming apart for a little while from the day-to-day things and giving ourselves permission to breathe in the beautiful salt air of the Atlantic Ocean, to experience some amazing sound healing, but also to connect with others who are caring a lot about fulfillment, who are not just checking off boxes or have learned that checking off boxes alone doesn't work. So I invite you to the Different by Design retreat, and you can check out the link to sign up for it in the show notes. It's www.retreatwithdianne.com. So I hope I get to see you there. It'll be really fun. And because this integration is so important, one of the things that I notice in one of my clients I'm working with now is when I ever say, okay, you really need to integrate this information. Let's find a way for it to be in your life, right? And he always asks me questions. He has a hard time with the integration because he's stuck in his head. He knows a lot of things. He's got a great knowledge set and he understands what he needs to do. But his real struggle is getting it into his heart and into his soul so that it can actually happen. So that's how come we come together for connection. Because when we're connected with others of like mind and we're not distracted, we are able then to have our mirror cells grow together. We're able then to calm our nervous system so that it can integrate and build on the things that are vitally important for us to keep going forward. Now, what I want you to think about is what part of your success story no longer feels like a big success to you. How is it kind of just behind you? Or maybe what part of your success story has you having some imposter syndrome? Or maybe you don't even think it's success, even if other people do. And ask yourself, is your life asking for more meaning? Is there a part of you within you that is looking for more? I think that's an inherent thing with gifted people is we're looking for more a lot of the times and we're yearning and we're delving into things and we're diving into things. But is that happening for you? And then another thing I would like you to think about is, what does winning mean? What does achievement mean to you? What does success mean? What do these things mean? And how do they impact your sense of wholeness? So can you win and still not feel whole? How do we know when we're all aligned and integrated? Those are very important things to kind of slow down and ask ourselves. And I invite you to do that either with me now while I'm speaking or when the show is over. You can listen to the prompts again, listen to the questions again, and understand that going within and asking these questions is so important. I spend time myself going within, meditating, thinking, journaling, writing in order to create more wholeness and a more sense of a satisfaction in my life every day. Because I believe that we all have room to grow. I believe that we all need to be connected to other people that are heading in a similar direction and honoring each other in our paths. I've spent years doing this and I've spent years working on myself, and I see amazing epiphanies and powerful inspirations happen for people who take the chance and take the opportunity to come out of the success hangover and realize there's so much more to your achievement. You're really looking for fulfillment. That's why the work I do is called the Legacy Project Mentorship, right? Like, what's our legacy about it? And as leaders and as people out here in the world doing things, how are we going to focus on our soul level integrity? Yeah, it's really amazing. So you can always do a get to know you call with me. I am happy to talk to you about this topic or anything else. I hope I see you at the retreat or on any one of the shows. You can leave a comment on the show and I'm happy to answer that as well. Because what matters to me more than anything is that those of us who are gifted and neurodivergent are not walking around with success hangovers, that we're walking around feeling whole and complete and amazing. That if somebody was to ask us, are you fulfilled? That we would say yes, just like that. And we'd be able to talk about how it feels to be fulfilled as a neurodivergent gifted leader. Because after all, we are outliers, right? So I hope this show has sparked you, given you some inspired ideas, or reminded you of your grace and beauty and poise. And so until the next episode of Someone Gets Me, remember to keep your face to the sun so the shadows fall behind you, because you are a rock star. You're here on purpose with a mighty purpose. So go out there and let your light shine. And remember, you're perfect, whole, and complete. I believe in you. So until we see each other again, be well.
Thank you for listening. I trust you gained some valuable inspiration and information. Please join me and other visionaries in the Someone Gets Me Facebook group. Or for more information on my services and additional episodes, visit someonegetsme.com. Again, thanks for listening.